right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to discuss getting past the gatekeeper, getting to the decision maker. So you can give your presentation. This is something that Hank was asking about on the open forum Tuesday, and I believe it's an excellent topic for us to discuss. It's important because if we can't get to the decision maker and make our presentation, we can't sell, we can't bring in new clients. And just so you guys know, when we do have our open forums, I'm going to pick something out of there to use for our topics, and you know, put together material for the discussion, and in that way we can all get whatever we need to go forward. Now we're going to start this one out with a quick question, and I'm going to ask this one to Reiner. Reiner, in a business-to-business sale, what's the first sale that you have to make? What's the first one that you have to close?
The first one you have to close is yourself.
Okay, what's the second one? When you after you've closed yourself and you've made a phone call?
Then you have to,
who's the first?
You have to close the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper to get by.
Exactly. Got to close the gatekeeper to get through. Okay. Now, that's always the first sale on a phone call. Getting to the person that's going to either influence the decision or making the decision. Sometimes as professional salespeople, we try to find out all there is to know about our prospective customers. Sometimes we look at their website, do a little background on their industry or their particular company, what they do in annual sales. Sometimes we're going to look at how many employees they have, and most importantly, what is their placement potential. As we're examining those demographics and we investigate that company, you know, we're going to find out what type of placement potential they have for us. Now, one of the things that we do a lot of times, now this is something in prospecting that we don't always do in cold calling, and I'm not saying to go in and investigate a company before you cold call them, because if you do that, you'll spend a lot of time, you won't get many calls in, and well, you won't find a lot of people that are going to talk to you. But we always want to do everything possible to prepare to approach our prospect, and sometimes we forget about the gatekeeper. Okay, the gatekeeper is the first prospect that we have to face. That's the first one. And what we want to do, if we want to get past the gatekeeper, is improve our skills on getting past the gatekeeper. The main reason that as inside salespeople we have so many problems with gatekeepers is because we really don't know anything about them. So before we get into effective ways to get past the screen the gatekeeper, we're going to take a closer look at exactly who our gatekeepers are. And I believe if we get to know this first, and we understand that the most important prospect in a cold call is your gatekeeper, we'll be able to get through a little better. Okay, now, one thing to realize is today's gatekeeper isn't the gatekeeper of the past. Now, this person answering the phone, whether they're an executive assistant, a receptionist, a secretary, or whatever other type of frontline person that is standing between you and the decision maker, we have to realize that the gatekeepers have evolved. Okay? If we go in and view our gatekeeper as just some low-level pawn that's there to just annoy you and make your life miserable and make your sales cycle painful, then you're mistaken. The gatekeepers we have today, they're educated, they're trained, sophisticated, and they are savvy professionals that normally have more influence than we give them credit for as salespeople. And to misunderstand this would be to underestimate our gatekeepers, which is the first and biggest mistake we can make when we're picking up the phone and attempting to make sales. So we're going to talk about some facts about modern gatekeepers and some methods to get past their screens. Okay, now we know they're smart. Okay, and some of us who have been doing this for a long time, we think about the gatekeepers of the past that may have been a temp or a part-time helper that just answered the phone and sent out the mail. The ones we have today are a lot smarter than the ones we had 20 years ago. An increasing number of them are going to have some type of long-term experience and knowledge of their company and most likely their industry. Okay? Something we should realize is that many have started out with the company that they're with in other departments. A lot of them actually were in sales, believe it or not. A lot of your gatekeepers that are out there today started on the phone, and not necessarily in a cold calling position or a sales position, but it may have been customer service, or it may have been a telephone sales position. You may actually run into gatekeepers who have as much phone experience, phone sales experience as you do. In addition to having this experience, your gatekeepers these days will have a more direct involvement in selling situations. A lot of times more than you can imagine. Let's look at a gatekeeper who maybe works for a tech company. Okay? A gatekeeper at a tech company might answer that phone for several decision makers. Okay, they might handle the calls for IT, or information technology, the help desk, the data department, databases is created, the CIO, possibly the CEO, the CFO, the webmaster, human resources. They may handle calls for several decision makers that salespeople are going to be looking to sell some product to. Now, each one of these people are decision makers on some level. Therefore, each one of them are going to receive tons of cold calls from dozens of salespeople every single day. And this one gatekeeper handles all of those calls. This gatekeeper deals with all types of salespeople, with all levels of experience that sell all kinds of products and services. This gatekeeper, more than likely, has more direct interaction with cold calling on an annual basis than most salespeople may experience in their entire career. And this is the truth. They've heard every cold calling approach, every trick imaginable. And that's something that we have to realize. Sometimes when we try to get in there on just charm along and butter them up, not a chance. Now, I do say butter them up a little bit, but be realistic about it. Be real about it. If you're going to be polite to the gatekeeper, which you should be, you should absolutely be polite to them. Don't make it fake. If you fake it, you do not stand a chance. Next thing, that gatekeeper has power. They're not the messengers that they used to be. When the gatekeeper answers the phone and gathers information from the caller, the gatekeepers these days are trained to engage that caller on some level to determine whether or not it's worth their boss's time or some other decision maker in the company to actually take that call. And in the past, you had a gatekeeper, they answered the phone, gathered the information from the caller, put the caller on hold, and then asked the decision maker if they wanted to take the call. These days, we don't even get that far. Today, most of them have sole discretion on whether or not to allow you through. They have detailed knowledge and awareness of that decision maker's needs, their interests, their time, and their schedule. They might also be aware as to the type of salesperson that the decision maker is comfortable dealing with. So many of the gatekeepers that answer the phones can screen you and lock you out without the decision maker ever knowing that you exist. So let's respect the gatekeeper first and foremost and realize that our gatekeeper has a lot of power. Sometimes gatekeepers will have some decision-making authority. It's possible when you make a call and get the gatekeeper that you're actually speaking to the first level decision maker in your sales process. And of course, that's depending on the size and the nature of the company you're calling. But this is something that we need to be aware of, and we need to be able to control that. Additionally, these gatekeepers have become a long-time valuable member of their firm, valuable and trusted, I might add. These days, your decision makers will assign important tasks to the gatekeeper. When considering a major purchase, the decision maker may assign that gatekeeper to do the initial legwork, the initial vetting, to narrow down the field of potential suppliers or service providers. They may investigate companies, check out their history, look up and compare pricing, get quotes sometimes, and even evaluate their sales processes as well as a company's customer service atmosphere. So let's keep that in mind. The most important fact, though, that you must know about today's gatekeeper is that they serve as public relations people for their company and the decision maker. And by that, we simply mean that businesses these days understand that everyone is in the business of selling in some way, shape, or form. The person who answers the call must maintain a good and positive image, because they never know who they might be speaking with. They are there to help the company and its respective executives and your decision maker uphold that image of the company. And all of this means that while your gatekeeper is more likely going to strongly screen out your call, they may not want it to seem that way. So some of your gatekeepers are going to be really good at making you think they're not even screening the call. They're professionals at this. If we look at sales 20 years ago, and we made a sales call, back then sometimes we might meet just a harsh wall of obvious resistance. Okay, now this still happens today, but often we face a more subtle, sometimes invisible barrier that's far more deadly to us as salespeople, and it's because our gatekeepers have evolved. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but what could make it a bad thing is that on many sales calls, when we encounter this gatekeeper and fail to reach the decision maker, we may never even know that we were subjected to a gatekeeper screen. And, you know, as salespeople, we chalk it up as bad luck. We didn't call at the right time. And sometimes we continue to try to reach the decision maker in vain, which essentially will waste our time. So often also as salespeople, we believe that we're building a relationship with the gatekeeper, hoping that eventually we'll get through. Please let me through someday. Don't fall for it. The reality is that normally a sophisticated screen is going to cost you tremendous amounts of time, effort, and money. Okay, you just as well get your checkbook and write a check to the gatekeeper and not call them back. So let's keep these facts in mind as we go forth. Our modern gatekeeper, they're smart. They're salespeople. They have power. They might have authority. And they are the director of the first impression of the firm that we're trying to get in touch with. Now, to overcome this, we need to try to do what the gatekeeper is not trained to handle. Our gatekeeper is going to have extensive experience, but if we can identify the area where they have little or no experience and exploit that area, we have a better chance of getting past. This is very similar to the psychology of when I say ask hard questions. Because hard questions are, well, sometimes they'll make your prospect uncomfortable, but they get you to the real meat and engaging part of the conversation. Because if they're completely comfortable with telling you, oh, we don't have any accounts, sorry about your luck, call us back next year. Then we might buy that and we just got sold. So you typically have two types of screens. First, we want to figure out what type of screen we're facing. Type of screen that we're faced with, or we'll call it the screen dilemma. The screen dilemma that faces us represents the type of training and experience that your gatekeeper has. Okay? It's going to show us what type of people your gatekeeper is most skilled in handling. And once you recognize the type of screen, you can adapt your approach to be a person which the gatekeeper has little or no experience dealing with. Or you can be the type of person that the gatekeeper usually puts through. It makes sense. Let's talk about the first one we run into. I call it the investigative screen. This is the gatekeeper who's got so many questions, man. They're writing a book. Okay? Now, this gatekeeper probably has the power to put you through at his or her own discretion. The questions they ask, normally though, are for the gatekeeper and not so much for the decision maker. So if we're calling a decision maker and they're ABC Tile, how may I help you? And you say, let me speak to Johnny Smith, please. You're going to get a, who may I say is calling? It's Mike Lyons. with the firm Lyons and Associates. And what is your call to Johnny Smith regarding? Well, I'd like to talk to him about our debt collection services. And the gatekeeper is going to say, I'm sorry, Johnny Smith is in a meeting at the moment. Can I take a message for you? This gatekeeper asks you questions before they say the decision maker is not available. Most of the time, they don't put you on hold to check. And if they do put you on hold, they're not checking. They're answering another call and putting them on hold to come back to them. And they probably got 15, 20 lines lit up on the phone. And they, hold on, I'll check with them. And then they answer somebody else's call, ABC Tile. Go through the same spiel, and then they put that one on hold. They come back to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Lyons. Johnny Smith is in a meeting at the moment. Can I take a message for you? And they're not even putting you through to his voicemail, because if they put you through, he might answer the phone. And this gatekeeper also, they're going to have a pleasant personality normally, and they're going to seem to be very nice and, most importantly, innocent. They're going to make you believe that, oh, she was so sweet, or he was such a cool guy. They have to be being honest. And this gatekeeper will frequently engage you in small talk, which makes this a concealed screen dilemma. It's concealed. You don't even know it. You're unsuspecting. And most of us, you know, will exchange pleasantries with this gatekeeper. And sometimes that can waste our time and be a fatal mistake. Fatal for yourself. She's not going to jump through the phone and, you know. So, one thing to remember, that this gatekeeper and your primary asset is time. This gatekeeper has time. They want to use your time, and they want to take time. Okay? So next, we have the blind screen. Oh my God, I can't even see it. This is the one that asks no questions or hardly any questions, are never in a mood to talk. And if your name is not on a list of people to put through, or if the gatekeeper does not recognize you, you're done. Shh. Bye-bye. And this is the one, ABC Tile, how may I help you? May I speak with Johnny Smith, please? I'm sorry, Johnny Smith is unavailable at the moment. Who's calling? It's Mike Lyons with the firm Lyons and Associates. I'm sorry, Johnny Smith's unavailable. Can I take a message? It's short, it's sweet, and you're either in or you're out with no negotiation. It's the exact opposite of the investigative screen. And this is the one that's usually going to have a somber, very direct approach. No time to chit-chat. They want to rush you off of the phone as soon as possible. They speak fast. And some of them even talk down to salespeople, sometimes even in an insulting manner. Some of them actually enjoy getting under your skin. But obviously, if we're to be successful, we don't allow them to. Ironically, the blind screen causes less harm to us as a salesperson than the investigative screen, because most of us fear the blind screen gatekeeper so much that we choose not to call back. Then we're able to move on instead of wasting our valuable time on a lost cause. One of the things we want to remember with a blind screen gatekeeper is that this is the one that has no time and has no control. Their primary asset is a lack of control and a lack of time. Okay, now it's so important to be able to quickly discern the type of screen so we can get through, because we want to use the exact opposite technique to get through. Okay, so let's say we get the investigative screen. This is the gatekeeper that has the time to talk. They want to engage in small talk. Therefore, we need to become the personality of a person who is in no mood to talk and has no time. Now, I'm not saying be rude or be unpersonable. Be curt. Be quick to get what you want. Okay? Because we need to be the exact opposite of what this gatekeeper wants. It's going to catch them off guard. Okay? If we catch them off guard on what they know how to handle, we're much more likely to get through. Okay? So the investigative gatekeeper, they want to talk, ask questions, they want to BS back and forth. Therefore, we have to be the busy person. You know, we've got to have the mood, not necessarily a rude mood, but we have to have the mood, the attitude, and personality of someone who's in a hurry, maybe a busy executive. You know, my time is very important. I need to get through. You don't want to say that, but you want to give off that attitude of it. So we're looking to be on that call. We want to show the attitude of a busy executive who is in a hurry and expects to be put through. Okay? I'm sure every one of us has spoken to this type of person before, and they're not rude or mean. They're just serious and businesslike. So we're projecting the personality and tone of voice of someone who expects to be connected to the decision maker immediately. Okay, we're going in, and it's just like the assumptive close. We're to assume it, to air a level of confidence. Okay. Sometimes when we're talking to this gatekeeper, we don't always even want to use our name to begin the call. I've actually, and most of you guys know by now, I'm kind of big on using psychology to sell. You know, we've got to be actors. You know, we're playing a role here. And the fact is, if you turn on the television or look at the movie listings, the best actors, not in all cases, but in many cases, the best actors are the ones making the most money. Something I've even done is when this gatekeeper starts to ask these questions, I'll make myself appear to get slightly irritated when the gatekeeper starts asking. Now, keep in mind, this is referring to the attitude and demeanor that you need to project, not the actual words. Okay, this is to do with voice inflection, and you can use a little bit of irritation without being rude or actually demeaning the gatekeeper. So I'm not saying be mean or be rude. Project the personality of a very serious person. Talk fast and be very succinct. Be curt about it. So let's look at this. ABC Tile, how may I help you? Yes, Johnny Smith, please. Who may I say is calling? It's Mike Lyons with the firm Lyons and Associates. Is Bill in? Thanks. And we're not engaging. Okay? When we do this, we're forcing the gatekeeper to make a quick decision. We're not giving them time to think or ask questions. They have to decide to continue with the proverbial third degree and risk angering whoever the VIP or decision maker is, because when you take this attitude, you may be a friend of the decision maker, you may be a long-term customer, you may be calling about your golf game with Johnny Smith this weekend. Okay? Now, on the other hand, the gatekeeper might just put you through and let the decision maker handle it. In this instance, putting you through instead of not putting you through, it's simply a safer option for the gatekeeper. Okay? So, and let's look back at today's gatekeepers. They're the company's first voice and first impression to the world. So it's a very high-risk strategy to keep grilling you and giving you the third degree with questions for the fear of really annoying somebody who's important. Think about that. Now, the blind screen. It's one of my favorites. Also, exact opposite of what they expect and normally handle. This is your gatekeeper, remember, that talks fast. They're on the lookout for the high-level sales professional. They're looking to ruin your day because they might get off on it. It might make their day to hear you feel miserable. So be the exact opposite. Now, you still want to give off the personality of a VIP, but one who talks painfully slow. You want to have an over-friendly attitude, and you want to talk to everybody. Now, this is the gatekeeper that's busy. They're talking fast, and they're looking for fast-talking salespeople to slam into the dirt. So, we got to be the opposite of that. And you've talked to the person before. The one that talks painfully slow, they're over friendly, they want to talk to everybody. Just attitude of wasting your time. That's the one that you're trying to think of an excuse to get off of the phone with them. They want to tell you their entire life story, and I do this sometimes. So if you're ever in that situation with me, say, Mike, I gotta go. And I don't know what you mean. But this is the person that's going to take you forever to get around to talking business with. However, these people, they're usually so nice and harmless that it's hard to be abrupt with them. So this is exactly who you want to be to get through that blind screen. And here's an example. ABC Tile, how may I help you? Ah, yes, hello there. Could I speak with Johnny Smith, please? I'm sorry, Johnny Smith is unavailable at the moment. Who's calling? Yes, it's Mike Lyons here at the firm Lyons and Associates. I was just reading on your website that you just won an award for your outstanding tile that comes from Spain, and I was reading your commitment to excellence. Man, I bet Johnny's proud of that, isn't he? The gatekeeper. Yes, he is. I'm sorry, Mike, but Johnny's unavailable. Can I take a message? Me. I bet he's happy. He's done wonders there. I mean, it's amazing. Is he still interested in his golf? The gatekeeper. Yes, he still plays regularly. Johnny's unavailable. Would you like me to tell him that you called? Salesperson. Or me. Well, if you could put me through, that would be great. It would be fabulous to catch up with him. Thanks, you're a dear. Right now, you're going to be on this gatekeeper's last nerve, and they're, well, either going to hang up on you or they're going to put you through. Okay? And this will give you a good idea of how to get through that blind screen. Okay? And it's the concept and approach that's most important rather than the actual words I used. Okay? It's psychology. Psychology is one of my favorite sales tools, if you haven't figured that out yet. And in this one, again, you're forcing your gatekeeper to make a quick decision. Okay, to go on and allow you to continue wasting their time or to just put you through. And you seem harmless. In fact, if you do this correctly, the gatekeeper won't even see you as a salesperson that poses any threat. That's the beauty in it. So, in summary, to get past more gatekeepers and screens, and I'm not saying you're going to get through every one of them, because you're absolutely not. The key in this is increasing your percentages, increasing the numbers, okay? To get past more, we want to do exactly the opposite of what that gatekeeper expects and what they've been trained to handle. If your gatekeeper's looking to stop the fast-talking, smooth salesperson, you want to be slow-talking. Sometimes you want to act like a confused person who is anything but smooth. Yeah, Yeah, Johnny's still in his golf game. Dee-dee-dee. You know, on the other hand, to get past more. On the other hand, if our gatekeeper wants to talk and ask questions, then you want to be a fast-talking person who has no time to talk and answer questions. Force your gatekeeper to make a quick decision, and they'll connect you rather than taking the risk of making a big mistake. So, I'm going to run through a quick overview, then we're going to open discussion. So, first, remember the traits of the investigative screen. The gatekeeper that asks a lot of questions. They're investigating. And they usually have a nice personality. They like to talk. And they seem to have just all the time in the world. Your solution to getting through is to be someone who is a very busy executive who does not have time for small talk. Be confident. Your voice has to carry, this is imperative, it has to carry the air of positive expectation, as if you fully expect this gatekeeper to put you through almost as you own the place. Then let's look at the blind screen. They don't ask any questions or very few questions. And, you know, if they don't know who you are, you're not on the list, they don't recognize you, you don't stand a chance. These gatekeepers are direct. They don't like to talk, and they come across as having very little time to waste. So the way to deal with them is be a jolly executive who talks slow and wants to talk to everybody all day. Now in this, your voice must also carry that air of no fear and positive expectation. But also, you need to sound innocent, non-threatening. Don't be sharp and quick. Be methodical. And like I said, using this won't get you through every screen, but it'll get you through more screens. It'll get you to reach more decision makers, and it'll get you to close a few more clients. So next time you make a call, figure out which type of gatekeeper you have, and figure out who you're going to be, because that's going to help you close more. Also, sometimes if you're not getting through, and this is a sleazy way of getting through, and yes, I've used it before. I've actually called an ex for the sales department. Hi, can you put me through to sales, please? Well, if you're calling sales, you're calling to buy something in their mind. A lot of times they put you through. And when you get the sales guy on the phone, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to catch sales. I was trying to reach your credit manager to talk about some stuff on delinquent accounts, and you know, you don't want to come off as a salesman to the salesman. You want to stutter a little bit. I was calling to talk to your credit manager about some delinquent accounts. You know, can you tell me who that is and put me through, please? Bam! Sales guy, you're not calling to buy something? Get off of my phone! And he put you through. Put you right through. And again, that's something that won't happen all the time, but it's something to use as an increase. something to increase your contacts, something to increase your sales, and something to help you make more money. That's what we're all here for. You know, yes, we provide a fantastic service, and we've got all the bells and whistles, but for the most part, we're in business to make money. We're in business to grow to the point of dominating the commercial portion of this market. And we're in business to be successful, and you guys are here for the same reason. So let's do it. The floor's open. Somebody talk to me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kim.
Oh, okay, yay. It's finally working. All right, so what's your approach for the person who asks who you are, you know, and your name and such, and what do you do, or, you know, what are you calling for, and then says, oh, okay, how can I help you? They all of a sudden take the responsibility at that point of trying to be the one to help you.
Right, and that's the investigative call. I mean, the investigative screen.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that's the one. ABC Tile, how can I help you? Could I speak with Johnny Smith, please? Who may I say is calling? It's Mike Lyons with the firm Lyons and Associates. And what's your call regarding, Mr. Lyons? You know, I'd like to talk to him about our collection services. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Johnny's in a meeting at the moment. Can I take a message for you? That's the one we're talking about, right?
I see. Thank you.
The one with the pleasant personality. They're nice, innocent. Sometimes they're going to engage you in small talk. That's the one we want to be, the person who has no time to waste on, and it'll help us get through. And this is something you want to begin utilizing with. You want to begin making your changes sparingly on this. You don't want to just completely force yourself to do it, because it won't be natural if you do. If you make your calls and you find out little points where you can make some of these improvements to get to your decision maker faster, it'll help you out.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Good deal. All right. Talk to me, somebody.
I keep getting gatekeepers who are for the big corporations, and they're the hardest ones, you know. And they're just, oh no, you know, I can have you pass on an email, and we'll go from there, you know. It just, that no matter how much I talk to them, they're just, oh well, I'll just have to get that to the right person, you know. So I'll tap into it. I'll try to investigate and see what they do know, how educated they are about it, you know. Try to find out if they'll tell me whether they have the 90 days accounts, or how many accounts, what's the average account, you know, whether they're collecting in-house and stuff like that. But I get stuck talking to the gatekeeper and spend minutes and minutes and minutes, and then she's like, oh well, I just have to pass it on, you know, it's our corporate, they make all those decisions. And then after, like, I'll waste my time with them 20-25 minutes, and I'll find out maybe their corporate's in Canada or something, you know, and I can't even do anything about it. It's just there's those gatekeepers that essentially it kind of beats me up in the day, because I know it takes all my time, and I work hardest, and then it's like the most disappointing thing.
Okay, and that is also the investigative gatekeeper. That's the category they fall under. The ones who are going to take your time, and they've got all the time in the world. That part of their job is to keep you off of the phone with their boss. So what you need to do with those is be more curt. What you need to do is find out who your contact is. If you have a company or several companies you're calling that you're having that problem with, find out who the credit manager is. If you've got to call and ask for the sales department and ask them who the credit manager is, do it. Because if you're pitching your investigative gatekeeper, chances are the decision maker isn't even getting the information. Sometimes they will. You know, if that gatekeeper feels that their VIP would benefit in some way from what you're selling, but first and foremost, we've got to make sure before we give a presentation, we need to be on the phone with a decision maker or a decision influencer. Otherwise, we have wasted our time that could be spent contacting someone else. So this is an important thing to understand in sales. Using your time wisely can make you or break you. Actually, let me restate that. Whether or not you use your time wisely can make you or break you. So that's something we want to look at in this, and it's something that's going to take you some work to develop. It can be developed, but it's absolutely going to take work. And if you use some of the techniques I'm giving you, you will see an increase in the percentage of people who talk business with you, who are the decision makers. Because if you just talk to the gatekeeper about it, you're not going to get very many sales. What do I have next?
Sometimes I think it's effective, Mike, to assume the role as a customer, or depending upon how they answer the phone, many times I'm just very direct. Can you transfer me to your credit department or your accounts receivables, please? And just cut out the small talk. It just depends on the second and how they respond to me and how I'm going to ask to proceed in the call. But many times I like to act like I'm the customer. You know, ABC tile, yes, I'd like to talk to you about accounts receivables that are delinquent, please. Are you a customer of ours? Absolutely I am. What's your name, sir? Reiner Davis. You know, they don't know me. So many times that works. I just like to have fun, you know, try different things. I think that's one of the things that we have to have is many different openers, because if you use one opener each and every time, you're going to hit more roadblocks. But the more openers you have, then you have more opportunity to get in to speak to the decision maker. And I think that's just vital in using our time wisely. You know, but just don't be afraid to try some new things. Try a different opener. Incorporate 3 or 4 or 5 different openers so you can take a different approach. You know, it's one of the hard things to learn because we each have natural instincts to who we gravitate to on the phone or who we meet in person. Some people you just have a connection with because they talk the same language as we do. They think the same way as we do. And then others we just don't get along with because they're so different than us. So it's really kind of difficult to have a clear-cut method, but I think if we can incorporate different openers, it just opens the opportunity more for us.
Right, absolutely. And the techniques here are things to help keep us from wasting time. Time is the most valuable thing in sales. That and increasing the percentage of sales you make and the percentage of decision makers you're able to talk to. These are pretty much the most important things in sales when you're in an inside sales position. What do I have next?
I was going
Okay,
Are you to go, or I was going to say that, do you think it's believable with the gatekeeper that you could be someone that they know personally in this day and age of cell phones? I mean, like, why would you call that person's line if you know them personally versus say their cell phone, for instance, if you know them personally? That's what I'm thinking. Also, I have been told, by the way, that you can try to pretend like you know them personally by using their first name rather than saying their first and last name, and that may, make the gatekeeper think you know them personally.
Right, and in the day and age of cell phones, which we are in, a higher percentage of people who know that executive personally might call them on their cell phones. Most of your executives, however, are going to be someone who's if they're not 40s or above, they're at least 35 or above. Most of your executives now. I'm not saying there aren't a ton of young executives out there. I'm saying the majority are people who come from a different era. Okay, and a lot of times these people are going to call somebody on a landline before they pick up a cell phone and call them. And it's because it's a habit. Okay, now this is also a situation if you're just a customer or some business associate that's calling from them that they know and have been doing business with for years, that person may or may not have that executive's cell phone number. Okay, so that person would be calling on the landline to get through to whoever the executive or decision maker is. So that's something we want to keep in mind also.
Okay.
What you got, Jason?
Well, I had a situation this morning that kind of goes across the board a little bit. The Gatekeeper was an automated answering system, that talks about the menu options and all those things. And I found my way, can you hear me okay? I found my way to the accounts receivable department. She listened to me say, "This is Jason Bentley from Lyons & Associates. We're an account receivable management firm." And then she said, "Well, we do all that in-house. We don't really have any need." And I said, "I understand that. A lot of our clients, a lot of my clients have their own in-house accounts receivable, and we serve as an extension for them." And she hung up on me. So I went back through the system, got her again, and explained to her that we must have been cut off. And she knew I wasn't going away, so she sent me to the credit department. I got to the credit department, and I got just about as far as I did the first time, and she hung up. So I called back, got into credit, and I got on the phone with her, and I said, you know, I must be really annoying this morning. You're the second person that's hung up on me. And she goes, well, what do you guys do? And I told her what we did, and she said, well, we don't have any interest in your services, apparently. And I said, well, very well. I'm just going to keep going up the ladder until I get someone who's going to listen to me. She goes, okay. I said, okay, have a great day. Then I went online and found the CFO, whose name is Jim Gattoni, got his email, got his phone number, got his extension, and called back and left him a message. But, you know, that first reaction to me was, I took, of course, for a nanosecond, I take it personal, but then I'm like, no, because this is a big company. So I hope it gets me somewhere, because I'll call Jim enough to where he knows I won't go away. That's all I know to do.
Gotcha. And, you know, depending on the company's size, they may have a whole bunch of stuff sitting there. And let's realize that sometimes if we talk to a department that actually handles the collections in a company, they may or may not be threatened by the fact that we're trying to get their collection business. Sometimes you will have in-house accounts receivable departments that feel threatened by a collection agency because they feel that they may not be needed if we're going in there and collecting the stuff that they can't collect. But the thing is, they have to understand that they can't collect everything in-house. It's not possible. There's always going to be some percentage of delinquency, and that's in anything. You know, every business plan I have ever looked at had a clause in it for acceptable loss. Every one of them, acceptable loss. Wonder how that happens. So on that, maybe you can get through to the CFO. And the CFO might not like you either, but you know, if you can't get through to anybody, get rid of it, man. We can't win them all, but I like the fact that you're being tenacious about it. That's awesome, man, and that's what's going to get stuff in the door. You know?
Yeah, you know, the thing is too is I knew that the people that I talked to don't even have the authority to make the decision. I mean, I could have been offering them $1 million and they're hanging up the phone. But another problem I'm having when I get to the AR manager or somebody who can is I'm getting a lot of, we really don't have that very often. You know, we don't have it, but maybe a couple times a year, and it's only $5,000, you know, $2,000, and sometimes they just, I feel like they're lying to me. You know, I need some ways to get more information out of them, because that's an easy way to get me off the phone is to say, oh, well, thank you, it all sounds great, but we do it in-house, and we rarely have anything ever go over 90 because our customers are so good, and we've been with them so long, or we're so small. I mean, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and if they really are that small, get rid of them. They're not worth spending too much time to try and get past their untruthfulness.
Fair enough.
If it's a situation where you know better, man, put them on the spot. Absolutely put them on the spot. Get excited, man. That is awesome. So, man, you guys collect everything in-house. Maybe you could tell me, you know, a few of the things that you're doing that makes you so successful, man. That's incredible. And just shut up and listen. And some of them are going to say, oh, well, we're just that good. You know, they're going to be cocky about it. On the other hand, some of them are going to start stuttering. I had a guy a few months back that needed a really good example of how to get past somebody who's really resisting, that he knew had business that could be placed. I got on a three-way call with him. I picked a debtor out of our system that we have collected from, somebody that we collected from, and not only did we collect from them, but this company got beat up on by Tom Shanahan. Some of you guys have met him. They got beat up on by one of our PIs. Our attorneys slapped them around in their jurisdiction, and we had this company to the point of them nearly losing their contractor's license in the state of California. So I said, this is a perfect cold call. They're going to be very resistant as soon as they hear our name. So I called him up with this guy on the phone, and I got the story of how fantastic they are in-house, and this, that, and the other. And of course, and I told the CFO there, I said, well, I don't have to tell you how good we are at what we do. You already know. And I immediately put him on the defensive. I pissed him off. He didn't like it one bit. And of course, he let me know that, well, you know, we collect everything in-house, you know, all of our customers pay. And I pulled a 180. I said, man, that's incredible. I said, you know, one of the things I do here and teach our account executives to do is help our clients out to improve their DSOs. Man, could you please tell me some of the things you do that make you so successful in getting all of your AR in? And he immediately starts stuttering. I thought it was beautiful, man. The CFO of the company, and they're a big construction company in California. This isn't just your peon CFO. And he starts stuttering. I'm like, yes, we got him. And he says, well, we don't collect all of them, you know. There's a couple of small ones. They're probably too small for you to mess with. I said, yeah, I can understand that. I said, you know, I have small balance collectors that do nothing but chase small balance debt all day. That's what they do. So tell me, what's a small balance debt? He says, well, there's this one that owes about $35,000, but you know, they're friends of ours, and you know, it's only been going on for about 7 or 8 months. I said, no kidding. I said, I tell you what, man. I said, check your email. I'm sending you a plane ticket to fly into New Orleans this Friday. I'm going to take you out to the French Quarter. We're going to have a blast, see the best bands, eat the best food, get drunk on hurricanes at Patos, and we're going to have a blast, man. We're going to be the best of friends. Bring your checkbook, write me a check for $50,000. He says, what? I said, well, man, let's be friends. Now, I didn't get the business, but it's a perfect example of putting somebody off their rocker. I said, man, write me a check. We're going to be the best of friends. I'm going to send you a plane ticket, man. We'll take you out in New Orleans. We're going to have a good old time, man. Come on, New Orleans jumbo shrimp, some gumbo, go catch some killer bands. Man, what could be more fun? And it was funny. Even though I did not close that deal, if I did that enough times in that situation, which I have, and I have closed deals that way, it brings up my close ratio. You know, because if you know something's there, you just got to convince them to give it over. I mean, in this company, I already knew what we do because we did it to them. So it was a humorous experience. Didn't produce any accounts, but it's something that you can use, man. If they're telling you, oh, it's a friend of the boss, and FOB, you know, friend of boss, right? He owes us $50K. And, you know, it's only been 7 or 8 months. You know, no big deal. Let's be friends. Come on, write me a check. Look, give me $50,000. Let's be friends. Funny stuff. I love it.
So on the construction companies, when they say that they use notice to owner, which I know what that is, I used to do it when I put my dumpsters out there for the construction sites. You know, that's a flat roadblock, because I know that they still owe money whether they have the notice to owner or not. They're going to have to use their own attorneys to go collect it, to go through the courts, to put liens out there. I mean, you got any experience how to get around that one? Because I got schooled on that yesterday.
Well, the notice to owner, is the owner an end user and not the construction company's customer? Or is the owner actually their customer?
Well, when I used them, I would put my containers out there, and I would put the lien notice to owner on the contractor who's using my service. But they used it in the flip role, where they said we use notice to owners for all our suppliers, all our subs, and I kind of just blanked out. You know, I couldn't get over it, and I know I can call them back because I didn't say anything really other than great. You know, it was pathetic.
Well, the fact is, preliminary lien notices don't collect debts. Notice to owners don't collect debts. Now, they'll help them get a higher percentage of stuff in, but the fact is, in a lot of situations, it's not going to collect everything. Okay, because let's say they have a lien sitting there on the property and the property owner does not want to pay them. Well, without collection action, that property owner can sit on that lien till A, it expires, or B, they come to a point where they want to transfer the title or refinance the property or something like that. Either way, some of them you're not going to be able to get through. You chalk it up as a no need. But if you have ones that could have some business there, ask them how long it takes them to get paid once they have that filed. Because I have clients that file liens. I've got clients that do the same thing. They send the invoice out, they send a preliminary lien notice out, and right before their lien rights expire, they file a mechanics lien. You know, of course, they don't want to file a mechanics lien if they don't have to, because, you know, they're $400 or $500. But the point is, they file them, but they know that the mechanics liens still don't collect the debts. And And this is a client that does this. They send the pre-lien notice out on everything. If they don't get paid on the invoice when the invoice goes out, they wait maybe 10 days, and then they file the preliminary lien notice, which is, what, about $60, no big deal. And then if they don't get paid, they place the stuff in collections, and we go after it. Now, this isn't just on a few accounts. This client has placed 95 accounts with us since December of last year. 95 accounts. Okay, so do I think liens collect debt? No, I think collectors collect debt. And you're going to have some of them that are absolutely unconvincible. When you do, get rid of them. But when you have one that you might be able to convince, you're going to want to keep it.
All right, thanks. Appreciate that.
Awesome. And Jason, you have Tom Shanahan's phone number?
I do.
Okay. Tom can also, you can get his opinion on liens also if you just give him a call on liens and notice to owner, your preliminary notices and stuff like that. He's knowledgeable with that stuff as well, and I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of things about that, and he can help fill in some of the gaps, because a discussion on liens, man, we can talk about lien laws all day and still not cover all of it. So.
Okay, yeah, I mean, when I filed, some of the big construction companies didn't want me to use them because their customers, will get pissed, but I didn't use them all the time, but they just provided security. I mean, you're right. The lien never collected the money. I mean, we always, if we had an issue, we had to go call them. I had to go visit them. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, and liens are like an attorney getting a judgment. It's a legal document that says some money's owed. Whoop-de-freaking-do.
Speaking of liens, did you happen to follow up on that lead I sent you where that guy said he collects liens?
I did not. If you send me stuff like that and I don't get back to you on it, you got to remind me, because
okay.
Literally, I'll give you an example of how much work I have, Trina. Every day this week, I have gotten up at 6 in the morning, started work at 7, and been in the office till 11, midnight at night, getting work done. And that's not even doing sales stuff, or well, some sales stuff, some collection stuff. Sometimes I'm in here writing material for us to use in these hangouts, so I can have a dialogue. But that doesn't mean I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm too busy to help you. It means remind me, because look, if it's in my inbox from yesterday, I'm not seeing it today. So on that one with liens, email it to me again, and be proactive about it. Aggravate me. Call me up. Say, Mike, let's call this guy. And
I know you're a very busy man, but yes, I can do that.
if you do that, I'm an action person. If something's in front of me right now that I got to take care of, I handle it. And I'm not saying that calling your guys on the back burner or it's not important, but if it comes in my inbox, man, it's probably on my back burner, you know. And I have stacks of stuff to do every day, and it's in the mix somewhere. But if you don't remind me, it's not going to get done. Well, what else do I have?
I'm going to see if anybody else has anything before I say any more.
Okay.
So, a few of my prospects have said that they don't. For example, yesterday we use our manufacturing customers. We would never send to collections, and I tried to explain being an extension of their accounts receivable department and our soft approach, a tailored approach. If I run into a situation, which I do, that they're a little hesitant about collections, they're not, they take it as we're sending the dogs out on them. How can I explain the soft approach better is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we don't always have to use a hard approach, of course, and one of the things we do, we have clients, I actually have personal clients that I do this for, and it's basically an audit approach type collections. We go in, we see if there's a problem, try to get it worked out as a third party, and basically let them know that if you can't work it out, we're going to turn the heat on. And that approach, I only recommend it for newly delinquent accounts. Though the older ones, absolutely not. It's a poor business decision to go that route on something that's older. But on the newly delinquent stuff, we can do that if that's absolutely what the client wants. Now, if you have a client that's a manufacturer and they don't want to place their customers in collections, or do they want to place their debtors in collections? That's what you should ask them, and ask them what do you consider the difference between a customer and a debtor? How long does someone have to owe you money before you don't consider them a customer anymore?
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting wrapped around the axle with when they do it in-house. I jump to the pitching that we're an extension of their department and the soft approach, and a lot of my clients, that's what we do for them. And I think you've been helpful. I just got to keep practicing is what I got to do.
That's it, man. That's it.
I had one yesterday, and it was the Gatekeeper was new, and she told me they had a 90-day delinquent account they were working with, and I suspected they had more. And then I said, well, how are you collecting those? She said, well, I think what we do is we just send out emails. She said, but you're going to want to speak to the such and such, and she hands me over to the guy, and the guy was like really hesitant, really uncertain. I haven't heard somebody speak this way on the phone. He's we're fine, we don't need your services. And I mean, he's really uncertain about everything. I said, well, your gatekeeper or the secretary or somebody just told me that you had a 90-day delinquent and that you were sending out emails. He's like, who was that? Who did you speak to? Blah 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 blah. And then he goes, well, we're fine. And then he hung up.
What was the person's position that you were talking to? The squeamish guy, the guy who was,
I'm pretty sure he was like a general manager or something.
okay, he's not the right person then. You need to talk to either a credit manager or a finance director. The GM is really not going to have anything to do with the intricacies of the credit department in the company. Call them back, talk to the credit manager, or sometimes you'll talk to a controller, but you want to make sure you're talking to the right person, because this guy, he's a manager. Okay, what type of company is it?
It was a trucking company.
Okay.
Trucking, yeah.
Okay. A trucking company a lot of times isn't going to have a credit manager unless they're a bigger company. So how big are they?
I wasn't sure. I didn't find out exactly how big they were. So.
Okay. Well, what you need to find out is who actually handles the delinquent account receivables. Because yeah, email collections. Good luck with that.
It's all the more reason why they need our services. There's no bite to emails. My gosh, roll over and write a love letter.
Exactly. All right. So, what do I have anything else here? I haven't heard from Frank, and I haven't heard from Hank. You guys have anything? All right. Hank's got something.
Yeah, I just like the idea of trying some different approaches. I mean, I may have been trying one or two, but I think I need to add some different techniques. I've got some good ideas today, and just the idea of getting people off of their do the opposites. I need to think more about that, because it's interesting. When Jason was talking about, it's almost like the people are reading from the same script. We're in-house. We only have a few customers. We're small. I mean, it's almost like they're all reading from the same book. I mean, they all kind of have this canned response. I talked to Rick about it a lot. He said, the majority of these people, they're lying, or you're talking to the wrong person. So I just need to be more persistent.
I think I'm going to write a book called How to Get the Debt Collection Salesperson Off of Your Phone. I could sell 1 million copies. But I agree with you, Hank. I think most of them have the same script. It's kind of like, hey, they're reading from a script, and that's why we try to do as much as we can to kind of knock them off of their rocker. And as salespeople, our approach and our knowledge in our processes is ever evolving. It's something that we work on it every day to become better at it, and to get a higher percentage of people to talk to us. And yeah, most of them, they're on a script, man. It's like, wait a minute, didn't I just talk to you?
Well, when they bring up the fact that they're a small company, what does that mean to me? I mean, how small is small? I mean, any amount of money it's owed to any company is too much. You need our services even worse or more so than a large company, because you can't take the impact of having any money owed to you. So don't buy that excuse.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, each and every one of us, just think of it. If I was to have $15,000 that I owed you as a person, could you take that impact lightly? You're a small individual. You're a sole proprietor. So heck no, that's going to be very impactful for most of us. We couldn't absorb that loss. So don't absorb that reaction when they say we're a small company. You know, I don't buy that garbage. And I get very angry when I hear that because, you know, I've been a small business owner, and I was very fortunate. I didn't have people owe me money, except a couple people, and I'd tell them jokingly, "Hey, I know where you live. If you wrote me a bad check, I'll come and break every window in your home." You know, I tell them that jokingly, but there were some people that took me kind of serious. Would you do that? I said, absolutely. You know, but I never had a problem. I owned a carpet and upholstery cleaning business. And I did have one gentleman who owned a used car business that was a crook, and he found out what happened. I don't know what happened, but something mysteriously happened on his lot, but I was not involved with it. So somehow the boys found out about it and took care of it. So
you can't prove anything, right?
that's right. That's right. Can't attach it to me.
So, what if I just go completely out of my mind, and this afternoon when I call people, I say, you know, the introduction, Jason Lyons and Associates, account receivable management firm, and I'm assuming, you know, I have a, let's say I'm going off script here, let's say I do have a decision maker, and I just flat out say, I am going to get $100,000 worth of placements today, and I want to see if you're in. How much do you have out past 90 right now?
Absolutely.
All right.
Use it if you want. Look. When I was in sales at another company, they would run stuff sometimes to pit the sales guys kind of against each other, and we had one sales manager in there who comes in one day and he says, all right, the person today with the lowest amount of sales or the lowest amount of comp is fired. If you're at the bottom of the board today, at the end of the day, you need to pack up your desk and get the hell out of the building. He comes in one day and says that. And it was funny because everybody on the sales floor is, they're pitching business, and they're actually telling prospective clients, look, man, instead of this guy giving out a spiff, he's going to fire the guy who ends up on the end of the board, man, and I'm close to the bottom of it right now. You're not going to let that happen to me, are you? And they're writing business, man. I'm like, holy cow. But yeah, a lot of different things work. And the best thing to do is go in there and assume the sale. Assume it. Hit it confidently, and you know, when you run into objections, when you run into stalls, do what you can to overcome them. You're not going to overcome all of them, but you can overcome some of them. And when you do, once all the objections are gone and the biz is on the table, you write the business.
The only thing I'd add to that, what you were saying is, can I count on your support today? Because you can count on my support in collecting your outstanding debts.
There you go. Mr. Pavin, what you got going on, brother?
We're good. We're good. We have, like I said, yeah, it's been good today, man. I've enjoyed it. A lot of good thoughts.
All right. Good deal. Good deal. Frank, what's happening?
I've got a lot of notes written down, ready to rock and roll. Just got to hit the phone.
Awesome deal. Awesome deal. And you guys know you can go back on our YouTube channel and watch this if you need to. Yeah. You know, if you do go back on there and watch anything, man, comment on our videos. Tell us what you like about it, man. Because YouTube and Google, they actually reward us for engagement by giving us higher ranks for our videos, which, as you can see, my banner says apply online to join our team. I'm trying to hit any avenue possible to help bring people in, and the only thing I've seen on YouTube for attracting people to come work for a team is stuff. Yeah, well, if you send me $499, I'll tell you how the system works. And there aren't many really good opportunities out there, and you know, we want to get talent in from any angle that we can get, man. It's part of our business model, being innovative. So if I don't have any other questions from anybody, I'm going to sign off, and tell me what you got, Ryder.
It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. I like it. One of the things, Mike, that I just want to reiterate is, you know, guys, we just need to understand that this is your own business within a business, and treat it that way, and you're going to have good results. No matter, they may not come immediately, but they will come down the road, as I had sent out almost everybody on my team a document on the importance. And I think I sent one to you, Mike, the callback, the importance of the callback, and what it takes on an average call is 6 follow-ups before you'll get a yes. And that's very true. And if you just keep in pursuit of the hunt, you'll get your rewards. I mean, we all have a different price to pay. We all come in with different skill sets, and just try to improve each and every day. Critique yourself. Don't be too critical, but critique yourself. What could I do better? And make tomorrow a better day. That's an option that we have. And as Mike said, time is our most valuable thing that we have. So we don't want to waste a bunch of time on PTWs. That stands for professional time wasters. And there's a lot of them out there. In the car business, you call them jacks. But in this business, I like to call them PTWs. So keep in pursuit of the hunt, and just remember not to be too critical, but remember also what you can improve on, and take action. Don't take the casual approach. Take action today, because the casual approach just strings things along, just as you call your customers and say, well, we think about it. Send me some information. You don't want to be that way with your business. You want to be pursuant of the hunt, not take the casual approach. So that's all I have to say.
Awesome deal, man. I like it. Anybody have anything else before we close? All right then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm signing off, and Trina, send me an email on that thing, and Fridays are not as busy for me as Mondays, so give me a shout this afternoon, and I'll help you game plan on your guy on the deal, and you know, we'll figure out if there's anything there or not. We'll figure out if it's a money maker or if it's a waste of time.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys.